I've been on a mission to collect and upgrade every weapon in Horizon Forbidden West, and along the way, I found some real hidden gems, some diamonds in the rough, some unsung heroes, some wild cards, some late bloomers, some growers, not showers. Was that too much? Yeah, that felt like too much. Anyways, you get the point. These are weapons that might not go down as the most powerful ones, but like Liam Neeson, they've got a particular set of skills, or at least a unique ammo type that makes them interesting. And if you're looking to experiment with some new ways to take out machines, or you're heading into New Game Plus, or New Game Plus Plus, or New Game Plus Plus Plus, and trying to keep the combat fresh and exciting, these ones are definitely worth a try. Hey everyone, I'm Chaz, and today we are going to be counting down my top 5 under the radar and underutilized weapons in the game. These are ones that might not become permanent fixtures in your weapon wheel, but in the right situation, they can definitely be really effective. And be sure to let me know in the comments which weapons you think are some of the most underrated ones in the game. I'm sure you all have some good ones that you think are underrated, so be sure to let me know what they are in the comments. And let's get started with number 5, the Spin Thorn Spike Thrower. Now to be fair, spike throwers are some of the most powerful weapons in the game, and for a rare blue weapon, the Spin Thorn is one of the better ones. But the reason why I think that this one is underrated is because it's the first weapon that gives us drill spikes. Explosive spikes usually get all the credit in terms of dealing damage, but drill spikes are also really effective at taking out machines. They not only deal damage over time, which makes them a really powerful damage option, but they're great at triggering knockdowns. And knockdowns are definitely one of the more underrated combat elements in the game. So whether you're farming for machine parts, going up against a group of machines, or dealing with an Apex heavyweight, don't underestimate the power of triggering knockdowns. Drill spikes also pair really nicely with the elite knockdowns coil that you can get in the Burning Shores. This coil not only increases knockdown power by 15%, but also explosive damage to knock down enemies. This makes it a really great 1-2 option by triggering knockdowns with the drill spikes and then switching over to the explosive spikes and taking advantage of the additional damage buff. Now the purple version of the Spin Thorn, the Vindicator Spike Thrower, is definitely not underrated. It's one of the better weapons in the game. It also has drill spikes along with fire spikes and explosive spikes. So if you're looking for a late game weapon that balances both fun and experimental alongside with power and overall damage, this is definitely a good option. But next up at number 4 is the Piercing Sharpshot Bow. Like a lot of players, sharpshot bows are some of my absolute favorite weapon types in the entire game. They're meant for dealing maximum damage in a single precise shot, usually at range and in stealth. But here's why I think the piercing is underrated. It's the first sharpshot bow that we get that comes with strike-through precision arrows. Strike-through precision arrows, while definitely situational, are probably one of the more underutilized ammo types in the game and have a few underrated benefits. For one, they have a reduced damage penalty for hitting armor plates, meaning if you're going up against a heavily armored machine, you're still able to deal a decent amount of damage. 2, they can pass through armor plates and deal damage directly to weak points, which makes it a great option for dealing with machines like Thunderjaws. And 3rd, and most interestingly, they have the ability to pass through an enemy to hit the enemy behind them. Now, if you're the type of player that likes to play around with different angles and really likes to take your time to line up the perfect shot, this is one of the most fun ways to do it. I've also found that strike-through precision arrows are one of the most effective ammo types for dealing with human enemies, especially the really annoying ones with the face masks. Now there are also more powerful sharpshot bows in the game that come with strike-through precision arrows, like the very rare Delta sharpshot bow or the legendary Gravesinger's Lament. So if you do like experimenting with strike-through precision arrows, there are some good late game options out there as well. Now before we move on to number 3, I'd like to thank the sponsor for this video, you. Yeah, that's right, you. By watching this video and hitting that like button, you're showing YouTube that I'm an underrated channel that also deserves a second look. So thank you for sponsoring this video. But yeah, if any actual paying sponsors are also watching this video, my DMs are wide open, so feel free to just slide right in there. Thanks. Okay, but now on to number 3, the Elite Ropecaster. Okay, so here's a little tip that every pro Horizon Forbidden West player knows. You ready? Okay, come in a little bit closer. 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 Oh, too close. Perfect. Ropecasters are literally some of the most powerful weapons in the entire game. We all use them. For a lot of us, they are permanent fixtures in our weapon wheel. In fact, if anything, a lot of us don't use ropecasters anymore because they make the game too easy. It's basically cheating even on harder difficulties like ultra hard. Now look, I know ropecasters can be a little bit tricky to use, but once you get the hang of them, they really are one of the most powerful weapons in the entire game because once a machine is tied down, they're down for a full 90 seconds. And 90 seconds in this game is an eternity. It gives you enough time to plan your next move, reload, craft some ammo, eat a snack, change your outfit, really anything you need to do. and they're especially effective when going up against a group of machines because you can completely immobilize the group and then focus on just taking them out one at a time. Now the Burning Shores also gave us the Tie That Binds Ropecaster, which is another great ropecaster option, but in all honesty, the Elite Ropecaster is perfectly capable of carrying you all the way through to the late game and beyond and going up against any machine that you might come across. Next up at number 2 is the Allmother's Blessing Tripcaster. Now the Allmother's Blessing Tripcaster is a legendary weapon, so how underrated can it really be? But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Tripcasters aren't the go-to weapon for most Horizon players. But if you're looking to switch things up and experiment with different playstyles, a Tripcaster is the perfect way to do it. They are a lot of fun to play around with and they can make things really interesting. Now the Allmother's Blessing comes with Plasma, Fire, and Shock Tripwires. And of the three, I would actually say I like the Plasma Tripwires the best. In fact, I think the Allmother's Blessing is really the best way in the entire game to utilize Plasma, which I think we can all agree is one of the more underwhelming elements in the game. But with the Tripcaster, not only does the initial blast itself deal damage and build up Plasma, but it also creates these Plasma Puddles, which deal a decent amount of damage over time. Paired with the Quick Trap weapon technique, which makes it really easy to lay down tripwires, or with the Trap Specialist Valor Surge, which not only amplifies damage from the tripwire explosions, but also elemental buildup and damage, the Allmother's Blessing can be one of the most OP weapons in the entire game. And if I still haven't convinced you that tripwires and Plasma are worth a second look, I did a full and complete breakdown of Plasma and how and when and why to use it, which I'll link in the description below. But now on to number 1, the weapon that I think is the most underutilized, underrated weapon in the entire game. And that weapon is the Elite Canister Ropecaster. Now, I feel like canister ropecasters get a bad reputation because they can be a little bit tricky to use. And true, if you're using the canister ropecaster to attach the canister directly to the machine and then trying to hit it, they can be really frustrating. If you are going to go that route, using a bolt blaster or even a spike thrower to trigger the canister is a much easier option than using the hunter bow. But even still, I don't think attaching the canister directly to the machine is the best way to use the canister ropecaster. And here's why I think they're worth a second look. Canisters make a really great replacement for using traps. Not only will this give you access to additional elemental traps that you don't normally have access to, like Plasma and Frost, but with the canister, you can shoot it at range and trigger it from a distance. Not only does this make it easier to hit with your bow, it makes it easier to stay in stealth since you won't have to go sneaking around the path of the machine to lay the trap. You can also attach canisters to rocks and trees and anything else that's nearby. And shout out to the OG Horizon guru Paris on Reddit and Discord for this tip. But shooting an elemental canister with an advanced arrow rather than a regular arrow will expand the range of the elemental blast. There's also an early game option, the Blue Canister Ropecaster, which you can pick up from merchants at the Hunting Grounds in Plainsong, the Bulwark, and the Cliff Watch, and the Burning Shores gave us the legendary Tie That Binds Ropecaster, which has explosive canisters. So there are a few different options to explore if you want to experiment with canisters. Okay, and that is my list of what I think are the most underrated weapons in the entire game. Well, what are your thoughts? What is a weapon or an item or an ammo type that you think is great but not a lot of people seem to pay attention to? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. And hey, be sure to subscribe because I still have a ton of Horizon Forbidden West content coming because I just can't seem to get enough of this game. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.